It's South Jersey's own SoJO 1049. I'm Heather DeLuca with the All Request Drive-Thru. Thanks for joining me on a Friday. I can't even believe my good luck today. When I heard X-Files was possibly making a comeback, I literally had to get David Duchovny on the line. Luckily, he returned my call. Hey, David.
Hey, how are you?
Welcome to SoJO 1049 today.
Thank you.
Gotta say, little nervous to talk to you. Little nervous.
Oh, come on. Stop it.
Yeah, you're kind of a big deal.
Thank you.
David's got a lot going on, really. I mean, he's got a new series,
Yeah.
X-Files, back in production this summer. But you also have an album out this week called Hell or High Water. It's available now. I don't want to say you're one of these, like, annoyingly talented people who can sing and act, because you really just only picked up this guitar a couple years ago, right?
4 or 5 years ago, yeah, and started thinking about writing songs maybe 3 years ago. And once I started writing songs and felt like I could hear melodies, then I started to think about maybe trying to be a better singer, because I've never been any kind of a singer. So the last couple of years, I think I've worked most hard on my singing of anything in my life.
It's one thing to pick up a guitar and do some vocal training to become a better singer, but why make an album?
Well, it wasn't ever anything that I thought that I was going to do. When I picked up a guitar, it wasn't to write songs, it was to play songs that I liked. And then when I started writing songs, it wasn't to record songs, it was just like, well, you know, I'm hearing songs, why don't I put them on my phone, which is what I did. I would just take my guitar and sing it, and I'd be like, oh, well, there's a song, and I wrote a song, but that's it. I started working with a guy named Keaton Simons in L.A., who's a brilliant musician. We recorded a few of the songs, you know, professionally on his stuff, and he played them. I can't play them well enough to record them. And I'm not kidding. I can't. And then he was working with this guy named Brad Davidson. It was really Brad Davidson at Think Say Records who said, I love these songs. I want to make an album. And I was like, well, I don't know what that entails. I don't know what you do. But if you think I got it in me, I'll go along for the ride.
Quite a project. The songs are very poetic, very organic. They seem very authentic. Did the song lyrics start out as poems?
No, they were always lyrics. I'm glad you used the word authentic, because that's the way I feel about them. There's not a moment in any of those songs that's calculated to become a hit. They're all exactly the way they came out. And the way I was generally writing songs at that time, there was time maybe 2-3 years ago when I just seemed to be writing a lot of songs, and I had a lot to write about. And I would basically come up with chord structure that was pleasing to my ear, and then I would hear a melody over that, and then I would write the words. You
mentioned in this month's issue of Rolling Stone magazine that your first day in the studio was horrible. How did you push through? How did you continue? And how do you feel about the project now? Would you do it again?
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, it's probably been the most rewarding thing I've ever done artistically in many ways in my life, just in terms of the struggle and the, as you said, the authenticity. And the first day in the studio, you know, I don't know anything about recording. I don't know how far to stand from the mic. I don't know anything. So I got tight, and when you're tight, it's hard to sing. We were supposed to do 3 songs that day, and at the end of the day, I still hadn't gotten through one, and I just remember lying on the floor going, this was just a mistake. I should have just left them on my phone. And then I persevered, like I always tell my kids to. Failure is a teacher, and I just kept on trying to learn. By the second or third day, I was more comfortable, and I was able to put the songs across in a way I thought was emotionally impactful, which is what a song is all about. It's not necessarily about hitting a certain note. It's about hitting the person who's listening to it in a certain way, and I feel like it does. I was just thinking I wish I could record it all over again today, because as I've been taking the album out, I've been performing a lot more and singing all day long, and I'm even way more comfortable than I was 6 months ago when I recorded it.
Well, it's really brave of you to share it all with your fans and put it out there in the public. It's called Hell or High Water. It's available now. Do you have a favorite track in this collection of songs?
Gee, I don't. I mean, I think it's kind of rotates. I still think Hell or High Water, I love that track. I love Another Year. You know, the songs, they kind of grow on me like I would hope they grow on other people, and they fade in and fade out. It's like when I'll read a book a few times in my life. You know, I'll put it down and pick it up again. Like, say, The Great Gatsby, I've read it 4 different decades in my life, and each time it's been a different book. So I think songs are like that, too. It depends on your mood.
As you grow and gain some experiences, you can gain new perspective,
different
things
songs
like that.
Come forward to you in a different way, yeah.
Yeah. David's coming back to TV in more ways than one. May 28th, the series Aquarius premieres on NBC. Set in the late 1960s, it focuses on a detective who goes undercover to track Charles Manson before his killing spree. Now, from X-Files to Californication to Aquarius, characters, they're so different. So what can you tell me about Sam Hodiak? Because this one seems super eccentric, David.
He's probably the straightest arrow of them all. Like, if you think of, like, Dragnet, my guy, he's working in the 60s. He's working in amongst the love generation and flower power and black power and feminism and all that. But he's a man of the teens, 20s, and 30s. That's when he was raised. He's got a crew cut. He's looking at this world and he's thinking, oh my God, the kids have taken over. When he goes to get involved with Manson, this a good 2 years before the murders, he just sees Manson as a pimp and a con man and a check forger and a wannabe musician, basically, which is what Manson was at that time. There's no way in which he can see that this guy is going to be responsible for murder, let alone the murder of the century up until that point. So for me, it's this great entree into American history in that time when you went from these revolutionary movements of the 60s, you run into Charles Manson, and after that, America kind of recoils against him as a hippie, even though that's not what he was. But they saw that this was the end game of the hippie movement, of the revolutions of the 60s, and they clamped down, and we turned to the right. You know, we went like Reagan Bush.
He's a fascinating, like, evolution of evil, and I'm glad the show is coming on now because The Following just got canceled by Fox, and this looks like it's going to fill that void for me. So we can't wait to see Aquarius on May 28th. Fans of the X-Files are chomping at the bit for its return. It's going to be a mini-series, I'm assuming similar to how maybe 24 came back, and it's been a really, really long time. How do you even go back to tapping into Fox Mulder again?
Gee, I don't know. It's a hell of a good question, and it's one that I'm going to have to answer in about 3 weeks.
I got to ask, though. I mean, I'm assuming you've seen the script, but did they throw a ton of money to get you guys to come back to do this?
We're not doing it for free. The point is, for us, it's also always been something that we wanted to continue. We all have a fond place in our hearts for the show, Chris, Gillian, and I, and for each other. You know, we also have a certain kind of allegiance to the fans who have kept it alive. And so if they want it, we're more than happy to do it. We love the characters. We love the show. We're not doing it for free, but there's a lot more than just money.
We can't wait to see what kind of stories you have to tell with these X-Files. But you and Gillian had a really nice moment this week in New York City. You gave the crowd some Neil Young. She actually got up on stage and sang with you. What was that like?
That was the first time I performed the album in New York, and Gillian was in New York for the upfronts with Fox. So I asked her, you know, why don't you come up? The band will come back without me, and they'll play the X-Files theme, and I'll walk up seemingly angry. You know, why are you playing that music? That's not what this is about. You know, this is about music. It's not about that stupid TV show. Nobody wants to hear that. And then you raise your hand, like hidden in the audience, and say, I want to hear it. You know, and you come up. So it was a cool moment like that and funny.
Didn't realize that she could sing as well as she could, too. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
We saw David with Gillian on stage last night and at the upfronts with X-Files creator Chris Carter for Fox this week. It's going to be a very exciting summer for David Duchovny, and it all begins this week with his new album, Hell or High Water. It's available everywhere now, and we'll see you on TV in just a couple weeks after Memorial Day. May 28th, Aquarius premieres on NBC. Thanks for joining us on SoJO today.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.